The room was full of noise, alien laughter, clinking glasses and shouting voices. Bright lights flashed over the crowd. The air smelled of smoke, metal, and cheap victory. A large alien, tall and red-skinned with 4 arms, stood at the center. He raised a thick hand and shouted, "We have a winner!" Everyone turned. A human stood calmly in the ring, tired, breathing hard, but still standing. His name was Jace Carter, a soldier from Earth. He had just defeated a huge warrior in a brutal fight. Blood dripped from a cut on his forehead. He didn't smile. He didn't celebrate. Jace didn't like these games. But he needed credits to survive on this alien space station called VORX-9. The announcer, a snake-like creature with a long tongue, slithered forward. "And for your prize, human." "Something special tonight." Jace narrowed his eyes. He had heard about these prizes before. Weapons, fake medals. Sometimes a bottle of alien alcohol. Sometimes something worse. The crowd grew quiet. Then crash. A metal cage dropped open from above. Something fell out. No, someone. A girl. Her body hit the floor with a loud thud. She didn't scream. She didn't cry. She just lay there, still and silent. Her skin was pale purple, her arms thin and shaking. Her clothes were torn. Metal cuffs were tight around her wrists. She looked no older than 20, but her body was covered in bruises and dirt. Jace stared at her. His jaw tightened. "She's yours," the announcer laughed. "She's broken, but maybe you like them that way." The crowd roared with cruel laughter. Some aliens shouted rude things. Others threw bits of food at her. She didn't move. Her eyes, half open, looked empty, like all life inside her had been crushed. One arm moved slowly. She was trying to protect her face. She had done this before. Jace didn't move for a moment. He felt cold rage in his chest. "Take her," said the announcer. "Or leave her. We don't care. She's useless now." The alien crowd started to lose interest. They turned back to their drinks, games, and fights. Another scream came from a nearby cage. Another being was dragged away. Jace looked down at the girl. He saw her ribs through her skin. He saw fresh cuts. She wasn't just tired, she was hurt. Deeply. Repeatedly. This wasn't a prize. This was a warning. They wanted to see if he was just like them. Jace knelt down slowly. He didn't speak. He didn't touch her yet. Her fingers flinched. Her body tensed, ready to be hit again. But no hit came. He took off his jacket and gently placed it over her. Still no words. "Just kindness." She blinked. Her lips moved, but no sound came out. Jace finally whispered, "It's okay. I'm not going to hurt you." He gently picked her up in his arms. She was lighter than he expected, like she hadn't eaten in days. Maybe weeks. Her head rested weakly against his chest. Gasps filled the room. "What is he doing?" an alien muttered. "Is he taking her?" Another laughed. "Fool," someone growled. "Why waste time on trash?" But Jace didn't care what they said. He walked through the room with the alien girl in his arms. The crowd parted. No one stopped him. They didn't expect this. No one ever cared about the prizes. No one ever saved them. The door to the fighting hall slid open. Jace walked into the cold hallway beyond, his boots echoing against the metal floor. The girl hadn't moved. Her body shook with each step he took, like even being carried caused her pain. He reached his small living quarters and kicked the door closed behind him. The room was dark and quiet. He laid her gently on his bed. She looked too weak to even sit up. He opened a small medical kit. He began cleaning her wounds. She winced but didn't scream. She was used to pain, too used to it. As he wiped the bruise on her cheek, her eyes opened fully for the first time. She stared at him. No anger, no trust, just deep, deep fear. Jace spoke softly. "You're safe now." Her lips moved again. This time, a whisper came out. "Why, Didn't you throw me away? Jace froze. That voice. It was so broken. So tired. He looked into her eyes and said simply, "Because you're not trash." She stared at him like no one had ever said that before. Then her eyes closed. She passed out from pain or exhaustion, maybe both. Jace sat beside her and watched over her. His fists clenched. Someone had done this too. Her. He didn't know who, but he was going to find out. And he was going to make them pay. The station lights flickered. Somewhere, alarms beeped softly in the background. But in Jace's room, everything was still. She was breathing. Barely. Wrapped in his jacket. Lying on his bed like a ghost from another world. The alien girl made no sound. Her face was bruised, lips dry, hands curled close to her chest like she was still protecting herself. Jace sat on the floor beside her, watching her sleep. His mind was full of silent questions. Who was she? What had they done to her? And why did she break his heart with just one look? He hadn't planned any of this. He came to Vorax 9 just to fight, earn credits, survive. But now he had someone who needed him, and he wasn't going to walk away. Earlier that day, after the fight, everyone expected him to leave her behind. Even the guards laughed as he walked past. She'd die by morning. One said, "She's not worth a single credit," said another. A short alien with yellow eyes whispered, "Just throw her in the garbage room. That's where the other ones go." Jace didn't reply. He didn't look at them. He just walked. And now, as the night passed, he stayed awake, changing her bandages, checking her breathing, giving her water drop by drop. She didn't wake up, but her fingers twitched. When he touched her gently, that gave him hope. In the quiet hours of the station's fake night, Jace left his room for the first time. He walked through the lower levels where few others went. He needed medical supplies, food, information. He found an old droid trader in the repair deck. Pain patches, liquid nutrients. "Trauma gel," Jace said. The droid looked him over. "For yourself?" "No." The droid rolled forward and scanned him. Not for you. Too small, too weak, too fragile." Jace didn't answer. "You're helping one of the broken ones, aren't you?" the droid said with a sharp tone. Jace's eyes narrowed. "Just give me what I need." The droid paused, then nodded slowly. "Most people laugh at them. You're different." Jace took the supplies and walked away. But the droid called out behind him, "They watch you now, human. Be careful. No one likes it when someone changes the rules." Back in his room, she was awake. Not fully. But her eyes were open. She didn't scream. She didn't try to run. She just stared at him. Her voice was a whisper, dry and cracked. "Why? Me?" Jace sat down beside the bed. "Why you what? Why, help me." Jace didn't answer right away. Then he said softly, "Because you're still alive. That means you still matter." She blinked, confused, like she didn't understand the words. He offered her a warm drink, gentle, sweet, safe. She took it with shaking hands. Half of it spilled, but she drank the rest. Afterward, she said only one word: "Thank you." He gave her a name. She had none. Or maybe she forgot it long ago. He looked at her pale purple eyes, the glow in her hair, and the small scar under her left eye. "You need a name," he said. She stared at him. "Lyra," he decided. "You look like a star trying to shine again." She didn't understand, but she smiled. Just a little. It was the first smile she had ever given, and it nearly broke Jace's heart. But peace didn't last. 2 days later, someone knocked on his door. Hard. 3 times. Jace stood up, blaster in hand. The knock came again, slow and heavy. He pressed a button. The screen on the wall showed a face. Not a friendly one. It was an alien captain of station security. Big eyes, sharp teeth, long scars. "You have something that doesn't belong to you," the captain growled. Jace didn't open the door. "She's not a thing. She's not yours, the alien hissed. Return her now, or there will be trouble. Jace looked over his shoulder. Lyra sat on the bed, frozen in fear. Her hands shook again. No, Jace said firmly. He shut off the screen. The door stayed closed, but now the danger had begun. That night, Lyra spoke more. I was born on a mining world, taken when I was small, sold many times. Her voice cracked often. She paused a lot. But Jace listened to every word. They trained me to obey, to never speak. Pain, always pain. But I lived. She looked down. I was for fun, for show, for others to laugh. Jace's hands curled into fists. Do you want to go back to them? He asked. She shook her head quickly. Then stay, he said. No one will touch you here. Lyra looked up at him. Her voice trembled. I believe you. And in that moment, Jace knew saving her wasn't a one-time act. It was now his mission, even if the whole station turned against him. She didn't scream. She didn't fight, but her silence. It was louder than any cry. It was morning cycle on Vorex 9. The lights above slowly brightened to mimic a sun that never existed. But in Jace's small room, there was no warmth. Lyra sat in the corner. Not on the bed. Not on the chair. But on the cold floor. Knees pulled to her chest. She had chosen the shadows. Not because she liked them, but because shadows meant no one could see her. Hurt her. Use her. Jace stood nearby, not moving too fast. He had learned sudden movements scared her. Even small sounds made her flinch. He placed a cup of warm broth on the table, then stepped back. Lyra didn't reach for it. She just stared at it. As if it might explode. Jace knelt down slowly, keeping his hands visible. It's safe, he said. No tricks. No pain. She didn't look at the cup. She looked at him, for the first time. Not with empty eyes, but with eyes full of fear. Real, deep fear. Jace's heart felt heavy. This girl had been broken in ways no one could see. It wasn't her wounds. It wasn't the bruises. It was her trust that had been shattered. Did they pretend to be kind before hurting you? He asked softly. She didn't speak. She didn't have to. He saw the answer in her eyes. Later that day, Lyra sat on the bed only for a moment. Her legs were too weak. Her arms still shook. But she tried. That meant something. She looked around the room like it was another cage. But cleaner, quieter. Jace sat at the table, reading messages on a screen. His face grew dark as he read the latest one. Warning: harboring stolen property may result in arrest. Return the item or face consequences. They called her an item. Jace turned off the screen. He walked over and gently laid a soft blanket beside her. She picked it up. Like it was a strange object, she touched it slowly, then hugged it tight, her eyes closed. Not in sleep, but in relief. That night, Jace woke to a strange sound. Whimpering. He looked over and saw Lyra curled up on the floor again. Shaking. Her hands clawed at her own skin, like she was trying to tear. Something off. Stop, she whispered in a panic. Please stop. Jace moved quickly but carefully. He knelt beside her. It's not real, he whispered. You're safe. She didn't wake up fully. It was a nightmare. Or a memory. He gently placed a hand on her shoulder. She gasped and tried to crawl away, but her body was too weak. She fell forward, and for the first time, she began to cry. Not loudly. Soft. Broken sobs that sounded like a child's. Jace wrapped the blanket around her again. I won't let anyone touch you, he promised. I swear. She didn't speak, but she didn't pull away. And for him, that was enough. The next morning, something changed. Lyra stood, only for a second, but she stood, and she walked 2 small steps toward the cup on the table. Jace watched from the bed, pretending not to notice. She sipped the drink slowly. Then, without a word, she looked at him, and this time, Her eyes were different, not full of fear, but something else, something almost like hope. Later, Jace opened a hidden box under his bed. Inside were papers, maps, and a small chip. He placed it into a device and pulled up a file. Station slave registry, hidden log he had stolen it months ago. Back when he first learned how Vorax 9 really worked, he searched for the number that was tattooed behind Lyra's ear. Unit 43X, property of Morax Entertainment Group. Condition, unusable. Disposal date, pending. His hands tightened into fists. They were going to throw her away. Like trash. But he had taken her first dot now. They wanted her back, not because they cared, but because he had embarrassed them. Jace turned off the screen. His mind was racing. If he didn't act soon, they would come, and they wouldn't knock this time. They would break the door, take her. Kill him. He walked over to Lyra. She sat on the bed again, holding a small pillow in her lap like it was a shield. Crouched down to her level. Do you want to leave this place? He asked. She looked unsure. Not to go back to them, he added quickly. To go far away, somewhere safe. Her voice was soft. There is no safe place. There is. Jace said, I'll find it. For you. She blinked. Then she reached out slowly and touched his arm. Her fingers were cold. But they didn't shake. Just a soft touch. She had never done that before. She trusted him, even just a little. Jace gave a small smile. It wasn't much, but it was the beginning. And beginnings were powerful. Asterisk, she never talked about the collar. Not once. But every night, Lyra touched her neck like it was still there, tight, burning, alive. Jace had removed the metal collar days ago, thrown it into the trash chute himself, yet she still felt it, that invisible chain. Jace knew something was wrong, not just from the scars, not just from her silence, but from the way she looked at doors. Every time someone walked past his quarters, she froze. Her fingers gripped the bed, her breath stopped. Even if it was just a maintenance droid rolling by, she feared doors. Because doors had opened before, and monsters had walked through them. That day, Jace made a decision. He would find out the truth. Who did this to her? Why was she taken? What kind of evil could break a girl like Lyra? He waited until she was asleep, deep sleep, safe with her arms wrapped around a blanket, and then slipped out. He returned to the one place he never wanted to go back to, the pit. The entertainment level of VORX-9. Loud music. Alien gambling. Fights in cages, laughing drunk creatures, flashing lights. And in the center, the blood ring, where Jace had once fought for survival. Where Lyra had once been displayed. He walked past old faces. Some recognized him. Some didn't, but one alien did. A hunched, oily-skinned trader named Sorrow, who ran the show prizes. Sorrow grinned with all 6 of his yellow teeth. Ah, the human who took the broken toy. Jace didn't smile. I want answers. Sorrow's grin faded. She's not yours. She is now, Sorrow hissed. She was given. You want more? I have others. Stronger, prettier, not broken. Jace grabbed him by the collar. Tell me where she came from. Sorrow laughed. You don't want to know, human. She was part of Project Ashfall, entertainment bred from pain. Illegal, of course. But nobody cares here. The viewers love the broken ones. Jace stared at him. What do you mean, bred? Sorrow licked his lips. She wasn't born to a family. She was grown. Raised in a training block, shock collars, fear injections. Designed to be silent, obedient, scared. They called her Unit 43X, but we gave her a nickname behind her back. The Star Doll, because she looked pretty when she cried. Jace's fists tightened. Sorrow smiled again. Don't look so sad. It was good business. Later that night, Jace stood alone in the dark hallway outside his room. He didn't go in yet. He leaned against the wall, his head down, heart heavy. His body was shaking, not from fear, but from rage. She was never meant to live a real life. They built her for pain, trained her to be used, sold her again and again. And the worst part? They didn't even call her by her name. Because they never gave her one. He finally entered his quarters. Lyra was awake, sitting quietly, waiting. She could tell something was wrong. "Where did you go?" she asked softly. "I went looking for your past," Jay said. He sat beside her slowly. She looked away. "You should not have." "I had to." She was silent for a long moment. Then she whispered, "Did you see the place with the red lights?" He nodded. "I lived there for many nights. I never knew if it was day or not. Only when they opened the door, I knew it was time." "Time for what?" Her voice cracked. "To be someone's toy." Jace closed his eyes. "I don't remember my mother," she said, "or my home. Maybe I never had one." "You do now," Jace said quickly. She looked at him again so carefully, like his words might vanish if she moved too fast. "Even if I was made for pain?" "Yes," he said. "Even if I'm still afraid?" He nodded. She whispered, "Even if I'm not normal?" He touched her hand gently. "You're human enough for me." Tears filled her eyes, but this time, they weren't from fear. They were from something she'd never felt before, something called worth. Jace looked out the small window toward the stars. "We need to leave," he said. "Soon." "Why?" Lyra asked. "They won't let you go. They won't stop. Not until you're theirs again. I don't want to go back." "You won't," he said. "I'll protect you. Even if I have to fight the whole galaxy." She squeezed his hand. Soft, but strong, like a girl slowly remembering what strength feels like. The lights in the hallway outside his room turned red. That had never happened before. Not for a cleaning drone. Not for a medical alert. Only for one thing: security enforcement. Jace stood still, blaster in hand, while Lyra sat on the bed behind him, silent, pale, but no longer hiding in the corner. She wasn't shaking. She was listening. "I heard the boots," she whispered. "There are 6 of them. Maybe more." Jace nodded. She was right. The girl who used to cry at every knock now counted enemy steps. Something inside her was waking up. Then came the voice. A cold, crackling announcement through the intercom. "Human unit, Jace Carter. You are ordered to surrender unauthorized property immediately. This is your final warning." He didn't reply. Lyra looked up at him. "They're coming for me." "No," Jace said. "They're coming through me." Outside the door, the security team loaded weapons. They expected resistance, but only for a moment. One man with a broken girl? Easy. But they didn't know what she meant to him now, and they didn't know what he was willing to do for her. Jace turned to Lyra. "If they get through that door, they'll take you." She stared at the door, then at him. "I don't want to hide anymore," she said. "I want to stay." He stepped closer. "They will hurt you," he warned. She stood up slowly, legs still weak but not giving out. "They already did," she said. "But you didn't." He reached out and pulled her into his arms. She didn't flinch. She didn't pull away. She leaned into him. They stood together in silence for a moment. Just 2 people holding onto each other while danger closed in. Then Jace said, "We're not waiting for them." Lyra looked up. "Then what?" "We run." With one hand, Jace tapped into the back panel of the wall, an old maintenance shaft. He had prepared this escape in secret after learning what Sorrow said about Project Ashfall. Now it was time to use it. He handed Lyra a small chip. "If we get separated, speak into this. I'll find you." She nodded and took it. Her fingers weren't shaking this time. They crawled through the tight shaft, moving fast. Behind them, the security team blasted open the front door. But they were too late. The room was empty. Jace and Lyra dropped into the lower engine tunnels. Hot air. Steam pipes. Dark corners. This part of the station hadn't been touched in years. "Can They follow us here? She asked. Not quickly, Jace said. They're not built for this side of the station. But we don't have long. They ran through the darkness, and in that moment, Lyra didn't look broken anymore. She looked free. They reached a small hidden room, an old smuggler's nest. Inside, Jace had stored food, weapons, even an emergency shuttle access key. He closed the door and activated the shield. For now, they were safe. Lyra sat down, breathing hard. This doesn't feel like running. Jace smiled a little. That's because it's not. It's choosing. She tilted her head. Choosing what? To live, he said. To fight. For something better. She looked at the small chip in her hand. No one ever fought for me before. Well, Jace said, sitting beside her, get used to it. Suddenly, a sound buzzed through the hidden speaker. A voice from the security team. They had found the maintenance path, and they knew where it led. We know you can hear us. Carter, that girl is not yours. She is a station asset. Turn her in, and we'll forget this ever happened. Refuse, and we'll make you both disappear. Jace stared at the speaker. Then he looked at Lyra. Her eyes were steady. She didn't need to speak. He already knew his answer. He walked over to the speaker and pressed the button. His voice was calm, deadly quiet. I'm not giving her to you. You'll die for her, the voice snapped. Jace looked at Lyra. She looked back. For once, she didn't seem afraid. He pressed the button again. Then I'll die doing something right. The line went silent. No threats. No warnings. Just cold, dangerous silence. Then Lyra stood beside him, placed her hand in his, and whispered, Then I'll fight too. They were no longer prisoner and protector. No longer broken girl and stubborn. Soldier. They were a team now, and Vorax 9 had no idea what it had just created. Asterisk. The hallway exploded behind them. Flames burst through the vent with a scream of pressure and heat. The lights flickered. Smoke filled the narrow shaft. Jace didn't stop running. He couldn't. Lyra was coughing hard in his arms, eyes half shut, her skin pale. She wasn't strong enough to run anymore. So he carried her, not because she was weak, but because he refused to let her fall. 10 minutes ago, they had triggered the emergency escape hatch inside the hidden smuggler's den. Jace had used his stolen keycard. It worked, but barely. Now, they were racing through the lowest level of Vorax 9, the engine exhaust tunnels, full of toxic fumes, red warning lights, and unstable heat vents. If the guards didn't kill them, the environment would. But Jace kept moving. Every breath burned, every step felt heavier. Yet he held her tighter. Above them, the station AI announced, Level 9 sealed, intruders detected. Escape path locked. Target, human Jace Carter and classified. Unit 43X. Jace heard the metal doors slam shut behind them. He didn't care. He had one goal left, get her out. They reached a collapsed pipe blocking their path. Jace gently set Lyra down, coughing hard from the smoke. She reached up weakly, wiping soot from his face. You're burning, she whispered. He gave a small smile. So are we. He ripped off his jacket and wrapped it around her again. Then he climbed over the pipe, burning his hands, and pulled her across with him. Her fingers held his arm, like her life depended on it. Because it did. They stumbled into a small loading dock. Broken crates, rusted walls, blinking lights. Lyra's knees gave out. She fell. Jace caught her. Barely. Her breathing was shallow. He lowered her to the floor and checked her pulse. Too fast. Too weak. She was fading. No, he said firmly, almost growling. Not now. Not here. He took out the emergency stim from his belt, military grade. Risky, but powerful. He hesitated only for a second, then injected it into her arm. She gasped sharply. Her body jolted. Her eyes snapped open. I'm here, he said. I've got you. Her eyes locked on his. She nodded. They were still in this together. Suddenly clank. A heavy door opened across the room. 2 armored guards stepped inside. Alien, armed, cold, one pointed. That's them. The other raised his weapon. Target is holding stolen subject. Use force. Jace stood up, blaster in one hand, Lyra behind him. I warned you, he said through gritted teeth. Then he fired. The fight was fast and brutal. One shot took the first guard down. The second charged energy, blade glowing, but Jace dodged and drove his elbow into the alien's throat. The guard fell gasping. Jace, he didn't wait. He grabbed Lyra, lifted her again, and ran through the now open door. Behind them, alarms screamed louder. The AI voice returned. Launch bay breach. Shuttle bay compromised. Perfect, they were close. The final hallway was long, lit only by flashing red lights. Ahead, a small shuttle sat on a lonely launch pad, old, dusty, but ready. They had one shot. Jace set Lyra inside the cockpit, buckled her in. I need 30 seconds, he said. I'll open the launch doors. She reached for him. Don't. Leave me. I'm coming back. He ran to the side control panel and began overriding the station lock. 10 seconds. 15. A warning blared. Manual launch override detected. Then a voice behind him. Cold. Familiar. Step away, human. Jace turned. It was Captain Viren, the security chief from earlier. Weapon drawn, face expressionless. You could have lived a quiet life, Viren said. But you picked a piece of trash over your own future. Jace raised his own weapon. She's worth more than this entire station. Then die with her. They fired at the same time. The blast threw Jace to the ground. He groaned in pain, his side burned. Blood, but Viren was down, not dead. Wounded, Jace crawled back to the shuttle. Inside, Lyra reached out. Jace, he pulled himself in, hit the launch switch, and collapsed beside her. The engines roared. The shuttle lifted. Outside the window, Vorex 9 grew smaller, the stars grew brighter, and Lyra, sitting beside him, leaned her head on his shoulder. You fought through fire, she whispered. I'd do it again. Jace replied. She smiled. Softly. She was breathing again, and so was he. Space was quiet. Too quiet. Inside the small shuttle, Jace lay motionless, slumped against the side wall. His face was pale. Blood soaked through his shirt. The stars outside didn't care. They just blinked in silence, but someone did care. Lyra. She had never flown a ship. She had never touched a control panel. But now her hands were on the flight stick. Her body shook. Her arms were weak. But her eyes were alive. Jace had gotten her this far. Now it was her turn. The shuttle jolted. A warning flashed across the screen. Pilot unconscious. Manual navigation required. Lyra didn't hesitate. She remembered things, flashes from long ago. A small screen. A voice yelling, turn faster or be punished. Pain when she got it wrong. Another day. Another slap. But now there was no pain, only purpose. Only him. She gripped the controls and guided the ship into a safe orbit. Her fingers moved with shaky confidence. The training they forced into her, now it would save him. Jace groaned beside her. She turned to him quickly, her voice trembling. Stay with me, please. He opened his eyes slightly. Lyra. I'm here, she said. You fought for me. Now I'm fighting for you. They landed the shuttle on a peaceful moon, orbiting a small planet, one Jace had marked as a safe zone weeks ago. A human colony. She activated the emergency beacon. Medical teams rushed toward the shuttle, pulling open the doors. Lyra stood in front of Jace's body like a shield until she saw the human uniforms. Real people, kind voices, gentle hands. She let them take him, but she held his hand the entire time, even as he slipped into unconsciousness again. 3 days passed. She never left his side. Machines beeped. Doctors whispered. Lyra sat in a chair, watching his chest rise and fall. Each breath was a victory. Each hour was hope. Then, finally, his eyes opened. She leaned forward, tears already falling. "You stayed," he whispered. "I told you I would." Weeks passed on the colony. Jace healed. Slowly. And so did she. But in a different way. No more collars. No more numbers. Just Lyra. One morning, she stood at the edge of the colony garden, feeling the sun on her skin for the first time. Real sun. Warmth. Life. Jace walked up beside her. He still moved carefully, one hand pressed to his side. "You okay?" he asked. She nodded. "Do you miss it?" he said. "The station?" She shook her head. "I only remember the pain." He was quiet for a moment. Then she added, "But I remember you more." He looked at her. "They called you broken." She turned to face him. "I was," she said. Softly, "Not anymore." He stepped closer. "You're strong now." She smiled. "No, I was always strong. I just didn't know it." At night, she stared up at the stars, not with fear, but with wonder. She had come from darkness, from chains, from pain. But now she had a name, a voice, a life. All because one human didn't walk away. One day, the colony elders called her in. Had questions. She stood in front of them, not with her head down, but tall. They asked about her past. She told them everything. And when they offered to send her away for more help, she said simply, "I already got the help I needed. I just want a chance to give it back." Lyra became a healer in the colony. She learned quickly, helped others, protected the weak, and every time someone asked her why she cared so much, she always gave the same answer: "Because someone once cared enough to save me." Jace and Lyra never spoke of what happened on Vorax 9 again. They didn't need to it. Lived in their eyes. In their silences. In the way he'd always reach for her hand when things got quiet, and the way she always took it, without fear, without shame, with love. In the end, they gave him a broken alien girl to laugh at, but instead, he gave her back her soul.